Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Lovecraft discussion. We're covering Herbert West Reanimator with my friend and co-host,
Yeah, absolutely.
Purple Valkyrie.
Good evening. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me again. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Mhm.
Things came up, and I'm pretty sure you were busy with the Valkyries and other things. All those subscribers, jeez.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. But no, I'm very happy to be back talking Lovecraft.
Yeah, and what a subject we have today. Herbert West Reanimator.
Yes. We were a little bit dubious about this one, weren't we, love? Um, it's one of those that kind of splits people's opinions. I think people seem to know the film much more than they know the book, most definitely.
Most people are familiar with the movie Reanimator more than the book, and this is where it actually comes from.
Yes. Um, we can talk about both, but we'll talk about the book first, I think, if that's okay, because there's
That
quite a few differences between the film and what's written.
yeah, that sounds more um appropriate. I should I was looking for another word, but it was like bleh.
Appropriate works. I like that. Uh, right. Shall we dive in?
Yeah, let's Herbert West it even starts a little weird talking about Herbert West was a friend of the main protagonist in college, and it seems to be written in his point, not Herbert's point of view, but his friend's point of
Mhm.
view.
Yes.
And apparently, they went to Miskatonic University Medical School in Arkham.
Yeah, absolutely. It's written almost as a either like a diary entry or it's written more so like a confession.
Either way,
That's what I
it's
always read it as. Mhm.
go on ahead if you want.
Yeah, sure. Um, just to give a little bit of backstory about the actual book itself, it's one of Lovecraft's longer short stories, but this, like many other ones, was actually published in Weird Tales. So even though the book was written, it was first serialized. I think it was written first in October 1921 through till June 22. And then I think it was reissued in the 1940s in Weird Tales. But we were talking about this in the green room as well. When you read the book, there's a definite sense that it's written in chapters or chunks because it kind of reiterates stuff that's gone before and kind of recaps, and it's a little bit kind of jarring if you read it all in one go.
Wasn't it
So it's
originally
it's a little bit of a
republished?
strange one.
Sorry, sorry, but wasn't
Sorry,
it
no, carry on.
republished by Arkham House?
I believe it was as well. Yes,
Ooh,
yeah.
it's funny, Arkham House, because that is August Derleth's company. Not very many people know that. August Derleth also picked up Lovecraft stories after his death.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it makes sense.
August Derleth made a huge contribution. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the original publication it was is Homebrew, which I don't think exists anymore. But I think most people would have read it from the Weird Tales issues. when it
And
was republished.
not to mention that. Well, actually, I'm going to mention it anyway. Um, Lovecraft wrote this story when he was down on his money, and he needed needed money. So he didn't even really
Hmm.
want to pen this, but it seems to be one of his more popular and more relatable.
It is, yeah. It's one of those. It doesn't really deal with the kind of otherworldly, into other dimensions kind of horror that he's much more kind of famous for. This is a little bit more grounded. This is a little bit more supernatural in tone. Though it reads more like Edgar Allan Poe, for example.
Yeah,
So.
we were just talking about that in the green room. Like, it does seem
Hmm.
very. Poe was one of his influences. I will say that Poe, and I have to say, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein had a little piece of this as far as
Yes,
influences
definitely.
go.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yes, so you said you recently reread Frankenstein. You can definitely see the parallels between the two stories.
Yes, I did say there was parallels, but
Hmm.
now I'm just drawing a blank. It's so weird.
Yeah, I kind of see one because it's written not by the main character. It's not the main character's voice that you're reading it through in both stories, and both stories deal with kind of body snatching. Delving into things that you really shouldn't be dealing with. And obviously reanimating the dead.
There's a whole bunch of taboos here.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Very, and done by very alchemic means, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the book, when it was first published, was done in 6 parts. So I think probably the easiest way to do it, shall we just go through each part as it was published to give the story?
Yeah, and the way it was written, if you do get it like full book, and either way, it still kind of repeats itself a lot just to even make sense. And that's probably why here's why I said it so that this stream is going to be so revealing. I've never really finished this one in the history of ever. I've even tried it with audiobook accompaniment. I can't do it. I guess it's just so repetitive.
It is,
I,
yeah. Once you notice it, you can't help but notice it. It's like, oh, we've already heard this part.
apparently, Yvette loves Reanimator.
Oh, awesome.
And Mr. Hyde really needs to read Lovecraft. Do I need to get you a book, buddy? I might. The one I got is actually kind of cheap on Amazon right now.
Yes, I've got a few different copies, but yeah, depending on if you want like the full sets or you just want, some of the short stories, um, you can find them pretty much all over.
I really want to get some copies of the original Weird Tales
Oh,
versions.
that would be awesome to have. Yeah.
That would be amazing. Yes, I Nancy Reed makes a point. Here we go. Yeah, in a way, because it just keeps like retelling some of the same stuff over again, and it just seems this this just seemed abhorrently laborious to me, and that's probably why I can't get through it because it just that's why I said okay, another confession. Before I even got Purple Valkyrie on here, I said, I hope your back doesn't hurt by the end of this stream. And she says, in the message, she says, my back? Question mark. And as soon as I got her in here, I explained it. I said, because you're going to be carrying me on this one.
It's one of those, it divides people. I like it, but it's only one I can read occasionally, whereas some of them I can just pick up and read, and you can just kind of sprint through them. But I've got to admit, I really do like the character of Herbert West. There's something very, very evil about him. He's just
Like
quite appealing.
determinedly. No. I don't see evil. I see absolute determination.
Yeah,
By any means necessary.
He's very clinical. He's very cold. He's a quintessential mad scientist.
He really is. He really is. And I think that's what I really like about Herbert West as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And I notice in the book most of the time the success is attributed to the freshness of said specimens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so apparently he needs some freshly deads.
Oh yes. He's pretty unscrupulous when it comes to getting what he wants, as we'll kind of cover as we go through each of the 6 parts.
Maybe Yvette. We're having way too much. We always have too much fun with this.
We do. I just love to be able to talk Lovecraft.
I like talking Lovecraft with, especially with somebody as knowledgeable. It's refreshing, actually.
Oh, thank you, love. So, shall we dive into it and kind of give a recount for our audience about the story itself?
Yeah, by all means.
Awesome. Yes. So, as we said, published in 6 parts, kind of pretty much 6 equal chunks. And I probably should note when Stephen King did The Green Mile, he also published that in the same style as these kind of stories in Weird Tales. So that was one of the few stories that he ever did that was published in pieces as well. So I think that was kind of an homage to these stories and a little bit to Lovecraft as well, perhaps.
These comments. Yes. Oh.
Okay. No, it's fine.
Go ahead, love. Go ahead.
We've got such a good chat today. It's awesome.
I know, we got a great chat.
So the first part of the story is called From the Dark. So the narrator, which we don't find out who that is. The narrator's never named. I mean, it could be someone that worked with West. It could be, somebody investigating him. It's never really stated.
But from what he accounts, it had to be somebody that actually works with him. It's too detailed to not be someone who actually was right beside him, digging up corpses and whatnot.
Yes.
And helping him with the mixtures and so forth.
Yes, it's hinted at that it's obviously his partner that does it, but if I remember correctly, it's never actually stated.
No,
So,
it never really is, but
mhm,
it's too detailed not to be.
mhm. So the narrator jumps straight into it, and he introduces us to Herbert West. Herbert West is a very, very, very intelligent young guy. He's at Miskatonic University. He's a medical student. He's described as very small, very frail looking, with almost white blonde hair and very piercing eyes. So even though he's quite small in stature, he's quite intimidating.
Yes, he is. And he's very Aryan in description.
Mhm. Yes.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, tall, slender.
Yes, there's not a lot to him, but there's something about him that most people find off-putting. So he's kind of shunned by everybody else, and that's even before he goes about with this fascination with being able to restart or reanimate something that's already died. Um, so he gets the idea and he wants to prove that it can be done. Um, Obviously, he gets laughed at. People, once something's died, it's died. You know, you can't bring it back. This doesn't deter West, so
Es-
he
especially,
starts. Yep, sorry.
especially not not only does he get deterred, he gets shut down by the Miskatonic University head. What's his
Mhm.
name? Dr. Alan Halsey.
Yes, yes, yeah. So the head of the university will not have this going on, and as you say, he just tells him to leave, just pack up and go. West isn't particularly disturbed by this. He kind of thought that that would be the case eventually. So him and his partner, um, they they just set up shop elsewhere. If I remember correctly, they find this abandoned farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere that where they can set up a lab and they won't be disturbed. And I think if I remember correctly, they took a load of stuff from the university when they were leaving.
Oh yeah, they pilfered the heck out of that university.
They took a few souvenirs on the way.
Lab tables, some
Hmm.
chemist sets. I think they missed the Bunsen burners because I think I remember reading something about using make some kind of lamps instead of as a makeshift Bunsen burner. So, oh,
Hmm.
here it is: a alcohol blast lamp had to answer for a Bunsen burner. Man, so some ghetto chemistry here.
Oh yes. No, by this stage, West has actually hit upon a formula that does in fact bring the dead back to life. Not for very long though. So he's been experimenting on animals and he's had varying success, but West is extremely ambitious. He wants to take it to the next level.
Like
And he's
maddeningly determined is more like
Mhm.
it.
Oh yes. And he's he thinks that he'll have much better luck if he reanimates a person rather than a rabbit or a guinea pig or a cat.
Which
Um,
they have tried.
Oh yes. So I think if I remember correctly, their first human test subjects was a construction worker that had died that morning in an accident. They
Hmm.
managed to, I think they dig him up, if I remember correctly. They kind of secret him back and they inject him with the formula and nothing happens. He's a little bit crestfallen, but he thinks, oh, well, maybe I got the formula wrong. And they, you know, go about their evening.
Back to the lab they go.
Yep. Later on, there is a blood-curdling scream from the room that has the corpse in. And weirdly enough, even though he's succeeded, they panic and run away.
All right. Even with a Lovecraftian discussion, we devolved to poop jokes. And it's not even 3:30. I mean 3:30. Go on. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So, in their haste to get away from this thing that they've brought back to life, they knock over a lantern, which starts a fire. And then their makeshift lab and the thing that they've reanimated all go up in flames. And that is where part 1 ends. So it ends on a little bit of a cliffhanger.
Yes, so we go into part 2, and it mentions the lab bursting into flames and all their research, and now they're digging up another corpse and finding another place to set up shop, as we could say.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, this little setback doesn't deter West at all. If anything, it kind of reinforces the idea, and he's even more obsessed with doing it properly. So the next one that they come across that they try to reanimate is a boxing champion, if I remember correctly, who died of a head wound. So this guy is very, very fresh, and obviously West is convinced that the fresher the body, the more chance it is that success will happen.
The better results. Yes.
Yeah. And once again, they inject it with the serum, and this time nothing happens. Disappointed, they take it out and bury it. They think nothing of it until a few days later, in the town just beyond where they're staying, there's reports of a missing child.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
No. Ooh.
The mother's
Not the child.
The child's mother dies from a weak heart due to hysteria. And the town know that West is a doctor, so they call him to try and save her. He can't save her. The father then flies into a rage because he was unable to save his wife, and his child is still missing. So I think West gets a black eye, if I remember correctly, because of that.
And it still doesn't deter him.
It still doesn't deter him, no. West just doesn't care. So that kind of puts a dampener on the evening, and it gets even worse because later on there's a banging on the door where they're staying. They open the door, and there's the boxer's corpse standing on the doorstep, covered in dirt. I think, if I remember correctly, he's holding the arm of the child. And West just almost freaks out, and he empties an entire revolver into this creature standing on his doorstep. So once again, he takes out one of his own creations.
Oh, this chat. Here we're trying to give this deadpan as can be.
Well, even going on about it, it's a ridiculous concept. But there is something really endearing about Herbert West, because he just, no matter how many setbacks he gets, he just keeps on going. He's determined, and he thinks no matter what, he's gonna Next time I'll get it right.
Now, is it this chapter or the next chapter that Mr. Halsey gets his comeuppance?
I think that's this chapter, if I remember correctly. Yes. So chapter 3 is the Scream of the Dead. So this takes place a little bit. There's a little bit of a time jump because West has had to lay low because of what's happened. I'm pretty sure they've had to move once again. It kind of begs the question why his partner keeps sticking with him, because he's clearly a madman. But yeah, who knows? At this point, he's just as guilty, so he can't really break away. Where did it see? So the guy who's narrating, which I think it is hinted at that it is the partner. So it's either through confession or through a diary, just to kind of unburden himself. He's been away. He's been on vacation just to kind of steady his nerves after everything that's gone on. He returns back to where he and West are staying, and there's a body that West doesn't manage to get. And I think it was the body of a salesman who just happened to knock on the door and be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I agree with this one. His partner was just as much off his rocker, just staying with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with it. I think he was just completely under the thrall of West. You know, he was his kind of Igor to West's Dr. Frankenstein.
Definitely, I have to agree with that. That sounds very plausible.
No, West says to him that the guy, he didn't kill him, he just had a heart attack. So, and he was able to preserve him immediately, pretty much while the guy was still warm. And because he's so fresh, they inject the body again with the serum, and this time it actually works. Signs of life begin to appear. You know, the guy starts to twitch, he starts to breathe again, his eyes move. And just before the guy returns fully back to the dead, he doesn't kind of sit up and move about, but there is kind of signs of life. He looks over to where West is and begins screaming and thrashing violently, revealing that, in fact, the last person that he saw was West, and West is the one that killed him. He didn't die of a heart attack.
I think he was a Renfield. To clarify, was it the partner, Renfield?
Yes, yeah, that I'd agree with, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, completely under his sway. Yeah, Renfield's a much better analogy, actually.
May have to explain that one to me.
Well, Renfield in Frankenstein is the one that's in the insane asylum.
Say no more. Say no more. As soon as you said Renfield, Frankenstein, I got it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, definitely.
Now, yes, I agree too. Yes, definitely his Renfield. Definitely riding his more genius coattails for sure.
Yes. I always wondered what he thought he was going to get out of it, because I don't think he ever believed that what West was doing was actually going to change the world. I think it was probably morbid curiosity.
I think there's something even deeper in like cultural and fake historical significance to Herbert West Reanimator.
Wookiee supremacy. Yeah, sorry, hon. That was Dracula, not Frankenstein. Yeah, we were talking Frankenstein earlier.
Oh yes, it was. Oh yes, Renfield was Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, the fake historical thing. Have you ever heard of something called the Thule Society?
No.
Apparently, like a fictional fake history thing that the I don't know if I could say this. The Yazis used during World War II to try to possibly reanimate people to
Mm-hmm.
use as undead soldiers through demonic means.
Huh.
So I think there is some inspiration for such fake history in H.P. Lovecraft's Herbert West Reanimator itself.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that would make sense. I mean, obviously, this came before, and I think, as we said in the beginning, I think there is definitely an influence that Lovecraft took from um, Mary Shelley. But yeah, the idea of reanimating the dead, I think it's always kind of been there.
Oh, now where were we?
We are on part 5 of 6, so the next part is the horror from the shadows.
I think this is where I start to completely start dozing off.
Yes, this one it's a little bit different because there's quite a big time jump. There's like a 5-year jump, and now West and the narrator are serving as medics in World War One, and obviously West is pretty much in his element here because what what is there a lot of during World War One? There's a lot of death,
Yep,
and as a medic, no
that's a
one's really going
lot.
to question him.
That's a lot of fresh bodies.
And he's kind of switched tactics at this point. He's not no longer trying to reanimate whole people. He's kind of focusing on parts of bodies to see if they can be used and then put together like a machine. So if you can like reanimate just an arm or just a leg or even just a hand. So
That's
he's
that's exactly what the Thule Society was kind of based off of, like the whole fictional thing.
mm,
Yahtzee necromancers. And that's, yeah, I think it has a lot to do with this story and the whole World War One ties,
mm-hmm.
starting up the Third Reich, almost starting of the Third Reich in the 5th chapter. Or, yes, 5th chapter.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So on the battlefield, he becomes friends with his commanding officer and also a medic, a guy by the name of Major Lee Erie. Major, God, this is a long name. I've had to actually look it up. Major Sir Eric Morland Chaplain Lee. Yeah, that's a
Oh,
mouthful.
that's what she said.
Yeah. I'm just going to call him Chapham Lee from now on.
That sounds that works. That works.
Just to shorten it down. He's not with us very long, so that's okay. Because
Yeah,
the poor
it's not
major,
like it's gonna matter much.
yes, he's a um, he's a pilot, and he suffers a near decapitation when his plane gets shot down, West, being the good friend that he is, wastes absolutely no time in using the guy's body as an experiment, and just he injects the trunk of the body with the serum and puts his head in a vat to keep it, safe and secure. So I think Futurama. It's kind of that sort of idea.
Yeah. Yeah, they were, and it's funny you mentioned the Antarctic. Another Lovecraftian tie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Was
these.
the Antarctic to do with the Hollow
My,
Earth theory, if I remember correctly? There's supposed to be an entrance in the Antarctic.
yeah, I believe there was supposed to be an entrance in the Antarctic to what was it, the center of the Earth, which was
Mhm.
probably even Lovecraft probably kind of hints that there might be a ticket to Roulier through the Antarctic.
Hmm. Why anyone would want to do that, I don't know, but okay. It's a really bad idea.
Why would it? Why wouldn't it be guarded by elder things and Shoggoths? Hmm. Think about it. Yeah, I'm heading to a whole nother story, and I believe it has to do with some mountains and some madness.
Oh yes, that's probably going to be a two-part one that we'll have to do on that.
That's a big one. Yes, we're probably gonna have to 2 or 3 part the Mountains of Madness. Holy crap. It's one of his bigger ones.
Where did I leave off? Oh yeah, so Chapham Lee's in two parts. The body's thrashing about because of the formula, and the head's shouting from across the room. And at that point, the building is destroyed by a bombshell. West and our narrator survive, but there's no signs of the head or the body. They think it's just been destroyed. But West is very, very nervous about this. He doesn't know for sure, and it kind of preys on his mind after for a long time. And that leads us into the final part, which is the Tomb Legions.
What? Now I get it. Okay. I only caught that half-assed. Well, you know what they say. Either go in. Why half-ass anything? But apparently Herbert West doesn't half-ass anything either.
Oh no, he's an all or nothing kind of guy.
He's all in or nothing kind of. Balls to the wall.
So the final part, there's another little time jump. I think it's about a year after they've moved back, and they've got a house that's connected to a system of catacombs, which they're
Ooh.
using for experiments. So it's a lot more private, and there's at one point there's a knock at the door, and a wax-headed man. Um,
You see this, right?
I saw.
Oh, damn it. Oh, come on, keep it up. We almost got a snort out of her.
Almost.
Oh, we did get her.
Yeah, if you manage to get me to snort, that's an achievement. So, well done.
It's easy for Sammy Joe, though. Ah,
Oh my gosh.
they're waiting for me to damn near start dying, though. I don't know if you've really heard me laugh.
I don't think I've heard you lose it. I've heard you come close, but I don't think I've heard you kind of go too too over.
I laugh to where it sounds like I'm hardly getting any air. I'm laughing so hard. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, they're trying. They got the try hard panties on. You know, the ones with the extra poop stains. All right, where were we? Shit.
Oh, we were just getting to the climax of the story. So there's a knock at the door, and it's Chapham Lee with a wax head and a group of followers carrying a big box. Um, and they've gone to the local insane asylum, and they've demanded that Halsey, who was mentioned earlier, who was the dean, be released to them. Obviously, they didn't get him, so they took him by force. And West is just stunned by this. He can't believe that all his creations have come back and they're all working together.
What the actual deuce? Yeah, I believe this is the total WTF moment in the entire book.
Mhm. Pretty much, this is where West pretty much gets his comeuppance. Um, so yeah, um, they give West the box, and West refuses to open it and just demands that they incinerate it. So they take it down to their basement, they throw it in, and then as the box begins to burn through the walls via the catacombs, in come this. But they're basically zombies at this point. It's all of West creations come to attack him. They leave our narrator alone, but they set upon West, and he kind of he accepts his fate. You know, he knows he can't get away from them. So he just kind of surrenders to them, and they dispatch him.
Yeah.
It's shout on one tonight. That is so funny. Yes, Mr. Hyde, come up once.
What? I'm pretty sure that's not how that's spelled. What kind of stuff have you been reading to spell it that way? I don't want to know. Ah, this chat.
This chat is awesome. So yeah, that is the end of the Dear Dr. West.
Oh God,
Just a load on them.
no, no.
Well, we can touch on the film. Yeah, we've kind of covered the story anyway now, so that's pretty much it. That's the end of West. The narrator gets left alone to kind of tell his tale. The police don't really do anything because there's no proof of what's happened, and our narrator is left to live out the rest of his life knowing that he raised all these corpses and they're still out there.
Who knows? They still could be out there to this very day.
Mm-hmm.
Running around Miskatonic University or the real world equivalent, Brown University.
So, what did
Because
you think of the film?
what did I think of the film? I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember the film. I can't
Brilliant.
like I've only like watched it once,
Ah.
and it it just basic like I said. I hope your back doesn't hurt.
No, I'm having fun. I I quite like the film. So this is the 1985 one with Jeffrey Combs playing Herbert West. They definitely play it more for kind of comedy as well as horror, but it's not really based very heavily on the actual story um, of the book. I mean, the characters are all there, and the kind of the plot's pretty similar in that he's obsessed with reanimating. You know, he wants to bring back the dead. He's just as kind of focused, um, but it's not nearly as detailed as the book is. And Herbert West isn't quite as maniacal in the film. I think it's
No,
even I think it's because it is Jeffrey Combs and he's just too likable to be too crazy.
I mean he tries, but it's like,
Yeah, but all the characters are there. You know, even Dr. Halsey's still there. West, and I think the narrator who isn't named in the book is actually named as a guy, Dan Kane. I think he's actually named in the film.
yes, mission accomplished. I didn't. I didn't. I wasn't the one to fall this time. Oh, where were we? The movie Kane something something
Yeah, sorry, yeah, Dan Kane.
Dan
That was
Kane.
Bruce. Yeah, that's Bruce Abbott that played Dan Kane. So that was the unnamed narrator from the story. Um, it kind of it, it, I'd say if you don't want to read the book, definitely watch the film, but don't expect the two to be parallel to each other because there's a big difference in what's going on. Not just this time setting because it's set pretty much in the present day or what was the present day in the 1980s. Um,
Yeah, that's the big difference, and the it the book is a hell of a lot darker.
hmm Yeah, there's definitely a lot of comedy in the film. Um, as Yvette said, the cat scene, yeah, that is funny. It's not supposed to be funny, but it's played to be funny. It was Colin, yeah, it's set present day. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, there is a sequel, but I've never watched it, so I'd have to check to make sure.
Of course.
And hi, Tish. Hey, sweetheart.
Yeah, she's been here for a while. Hey, Tish.
I love you. And Dave Bob, hello, sir. But yeah, I like the film. I've got to admit, it's one of the it's an easy watch, and it's one that I'll probably watch around Halloween, um, because it's on like my film rotation.
Hmm. Speaking of, are you doing it on? Are you gonna do it by yourself, or are you gonna do it on your channel, or do you want to double it up and watch party it here?
I'm not sure. I mean, we could try and do a watch party. It depends on what's happening in October, so I'd have to kind of see what we can do.
Yeah, that would be kind of kind of cool to actually do something like that. Would you guys be interested in something like that? Because I really was thinking of doing something with the 2019 Color Out of Space movie
Mm-hmm.
with Nick Cage.
Yes, that would be a good one because that's much closer to the book than Reanimator is.
Oh yeah. Oh, so you actually have seen it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did actually watch it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was much better than I expected. Because
I
Lovecraft, sorry,
go ahead.
uh,
No,
Lovecraft
go ahead.
doesn't have a good kind of track record with translating from book to film.
That's because some of his things are so ambiguous and his creations are so ambiguous and Mr. Hyde's like pajama party.
We've actually got a pajama party planned, um, but that's down the line.
Either that or no, since it's Halloween we should have like a costume party and for everybody in the Discord can slap pictures of their costumes.
That works.
That'd be cool. I mean,
What would you dress up as?
uh I really don't know. I've got a couple things floating around here. Probably Panda Neo. Now I just need to get glasses big enough for that gigantic ass panda head. That's going to be a feet and a half. I may have to make them.
That would be cool. I generally just do something much more kind of boring. I just do a witch. Colin's got a question for you, hon.
Pajama 90 party? Is that the question?
No. He says, I've got a version of Colour Out of Space but haven't watched it. Is it Cthulhu Mythos?
Color Out of Space is definitely. Yes, that's how they spell the original. I believe no, it wasn't exactly the Cthulhu mythos, but it is a Lovecraft's weird tale. So it is H.P. Lovecraft. And that is how they actually spell it in the book.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they actually spell the story. The old using the old British prose.
Mm-hmm.
Or I should say just the British prose because
With the extra U, yeah.
apparently they feel a lot better. I adopt a lot of the old the British spellings. And I'm almost done cleaning and I do have an announcement. I'm almost done cleaning up and editing chapter 1 of the frantic writings of Theodore Pendergrass.
Awesome. Can't wait to
So
see that.
the first chapter is actually coming.
And hello, Moira. Hello, sweetheart.
Yes, Moira kind of snuck in here. Hey. Meow, Moira. Too scary for him. Yeah, but would you suffer through it if Purple's here?
So, overall,
I'm terrible.
you are.
I need my head examined seriously. Maybe more than Herbert West. Who knows? Oh wait, poor guy.
Mm. Brr, to you too, Moira. So I know this one is one that you just can't get into.
Yeah,
It's just, is it just one that it's one of those that just doesn't resonate with you?
it's just I don't know if it's the laboriousness of the way they have to start all over. I think that's what does it for me. I just,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand it all, and it's just because I did go back and just read the end of it,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, if I try to read it all, but all in one go, it's a no dice. It's totally a no dice. Close, close puppy, no cigar.
Yeah, I think, like you say, because of how it was written and because it can't really be edited, it just it backtracks on itself too much.
It does. I think that's what really gets me. Boy, if I was drinking something, I would definitely share it with you. All I've had is coffee and tea all morning, but I think I'm going to start laxing on that because I'm probably going to go pass out for a couple hours till about at least, unless Moira needs me wrenching on her channel, then I'm probably gonna. And then after that, I'm going to pass out till about 8 o'clock at least.
Nice. Yeah, get some rest. That's good.
That goes double for you. Oh wait, you're busy all day. Who the hell am I kidding? Or should I say
Yeah,
all evening?
all evening. Yeah, I've got another stream coming up in a little while. That looking forward to.
You're being a busy Valkyrie. What really do you got all going on?
Uh, this evening, I'm joining Loki while he plays Doom, and that's in a few hours.
When's that coming up?
That is 6 Central.
6 Central.
Mm-hmm.
So probably about my 7.
Cool.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I'll probably be there, Moira. Who am I kidding? I'm probably gonna stay up until Butterflies gets home from babysitting anyway. So it'll probably be like 2 or 3 in the morning. Yes, all night long. Yeah, I will be till about like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and pray for sleep.
Oh gosh.
And
Um,
in between doing cleanup editing. That way I could probably have it done by next week.
cool. Looking forward to that.
Love you, honey. Bye.
So do you want to?
Honey. Love you. Bye.
Love you too, honey.
Want to kiss before I go? She's over here.
Sorry about that. She's leaving to go babysit.
Hey, Butterfly.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much nailed this one into a coffin and stuck it in the dirt.
Pretty much. Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me back on.
It's always awesome to have you on. Like I said, it's always nice to talk Lovecraft with somebody. I mean, either that or I'm just going to sit here and fucking talk to myself, and nobody really likes that.
Which one are you thinking to do next?
I was going to ask you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we can do Mountains of Madness, at least part 1, if you'd like.
Ooh, shouldn't we do? I think there's one more we need to cover before we hit Mountains of Madness. Is it there? I believe.
Which one, hon?
I'd have to actually look at yeah, probably. Yeah, until somebody tries to reanimate it, Colin P. Smith. Yes, you're right. Somebody. Oh, which one was that?
Oh, and Colin, Doom Frost, that's midnight.
Oh, no wonder you never show up to my late night streams if that's midnight, because 7, 8, 10. That's 3 more hours. So 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No wonder I think you're a vampire.
That's Chris's theory. Yeah.
I want to say old bugs. No, that's not it. There's one other one we have to I think we have to cover before. I can't remember which one it is.
That's okay. We can kind of work it out. But
Yeah, we'll chat about it later.
We'll chat about it. Yeah.
Got 99 problems, but a boop ain't one. Oh, Jay-Z. I don't know why that popped in my head, but thank you all for coming. Darth Monkey or Raph, you were hilarious. Carl P. Smith, everybody. You guys, oh my gosh. Murder Kitty, thanks for coming. Yvette.
This was a
Derek,
great chat.
Janice, holy. Yeah. They were Mr. Hyde. Oh boy. Thank you, Dave Bob. Holy crap. And I think I saw Tish in here. Yes,
yep.
I did
Tish
see
is here.
Tish. And
huge thank you,
Nancy
guys.
and
Wookiee Supremacy, awesome. Thank you all.
yeah. Got Nancy Reed, Dr. V, or what? There's so many. That's so big, and so it's such a big name.
Ooh,
I kind of liked it when you were a V-star.
Just to answer Colin, yes, Terry did indeed go into detail on Lovecraft. He's got a whole dimension of Lovecraftian horrors that he pulls upon.
Yes, and I think that's why that our interests coincide, because we're both into Discworld and Lovecraft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're really interested in those ultra fantasies. But thank you, everybody. And
thank you guys.
all are so awesome. I got the StreamYard chat cut about halfway off, so this was an amazing chat. Thank you all. If I missed you, if you catch a lot, I think I saw Elihu, or I can't remember how you say it, but he popped in earlier to at least pop a like and probably catch the replay. So thank you, and whoever's watching on the replay, thank you. Stay awesome. And for all you guys here, the Lovecraft curious and the Lovecraft enthusiasts, stay eldritch. Darth Aster out.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Darth.